Hi, this is Faith in Literacy. And if you have kids in elementary, K to 5th grade, and they struggle with grammar skills, don't go anywhere. I'm going to be talking about how to master those all-important grammar skills. Grammar is the backbone of communication, right? Now, for kids in grades K through 5, developing grammar skills is not just about simply memorizing rules. It's about gaining the tools that they need to clearly express their thoughts, comprehend complex text, and build a strong foundation for reading and writing fluency. Now, without grammar, communication becomes muddled and comprehension suffers. With grammar, kids are able to develop that confidence that they need and the clarity in their language use. So I'm going to be talking about what are grammar skills, why it matters, and what are some things that you can do as teachers in the classroom or teachers at home in order to foster the skills that kids need to master grammar. So, what are grammar skills? Well, grammar refers to a set of structural rules governing the composition of phrases, clauses, and words in a language. Now, for elementary students, grammar includes parts of speech, so those are like nouns, verbs, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, etc. Sentence structure, so looking at simple sentences, compound and complex sentences. It involves subject-verb agreement, punctuation and capitalization, and word usage and mechanics. Now, in the early grades, students begin to recognize nouns, verbs, and punctuation marks. But for upper elementary students, they are writing with varied sentence structure, correct tense usage, and the proper mechanics. Why is this so important? Well, it connects with reading fluency. For one, grammar is going to provide cues that help readers to group words, pause correctly, and understand sentence meaning. It also connects to writing proficiency because grammar is going to help students to organize their thoughts logically, provide precise words, and of course, create engaging text. It helps with communication, both oral and written communication, because it's going to improve when children use the correct grammar. And of course, academic success, because with strong grammar skills, they're going to improve their performance in standardized testing, essay writing, and of course, higher level comprehension skills. And with that comes confidence. Kids with strong command of grammar can communicate without fear of being misunderstood. Now, how can teachers, parents, and homeschooling educators reinforce grammar? Well, one, make sure that you are modeling correct grammar. Use grammatically correct language in everyday conversations. You also want to make sure that you are embedding grammar in reading and writing. Highlight grammar in stories, kids writing, also in oral discussions. You also want to provide explicit instruction. If you know me and my videos, I always talked about structured literacy and providing that explicit, organized, and systematic instruction. That is so important. So you want to teach grammar rules step by step, starting with those simple concepts and then build on to the more complex concepts as they begin to master them. You also want to make sure that you're giving real-world applications. Show how grammar connects to letters, text, stories, and everyday communication. You want to offer consistent practice. So with modeling and guided practice, you want to make sure that kids are getting multiple opportunities to practice these skills independently. So use games, sentence building, and other writing activities regularly. And of course, provide feedback. Correct errors kindly but consistently, explaining why the correction matters. This is going to help kids to begin to recognize their own mistakes and begin to self-monitor. Now, let's take a look at some grammar skill progression by grades. In kindergarten, kids are going to start recognizing and using capital letters at the beginning of sentences and names. They're going to be identifying nouns as people, places, and things, right, including animals, and they're going to be looking at those action verbs. They're also going to be recognizing ending punctuation, so periods, question marks, and exclamation points. And they're going to be able to speak in complete sentences. By first grade, they're going to be able to differentiate between singular and plural nouns. They're going to be using pronouns correctly. They're going to apply correct verb tense for past and present. They're also going to be identifying and using adjectives and begin writing complete simple sentences. Now, in second grade, they're going to form and use irregular plural nouns, understand and use collective nouns, correctly apply subject-verb agreement in their sentences. They're going to begin to use comparative and superlative adjectives and write compound sentences with those basic conjunctions like but, and or. By third grade, they're going to use simple, compound, and complex sentences. Use irregular verbs like ran, flew, or even sang. They're going to master possessive nouns and pronouns, apply proper punctuation in dialogue, and begin to use adverbs for detail. By fourth grade, they're going to expand their sentence structures with prepositional phrases. They're going to use relative pronouns like who, whose, which, and that. They're going to write with varied sentence beginnings, apply correct comma usage, like for compound sentences and lists, for example, and recognize and use homophones correctly in context. Now, by fifth grade, they're going to be using verb tenses consistently across their writing. They're going to employ correlative conjunctions like either or and neither nor. They're going to master punctuation for complex sentences, use transitions and interjections in their writing, and they're also going to refine writing with advanced modifiers and varied sentences. Now, grammar instruction for K-5 is critical for building fluency, comprehension, writing proficiency, and communication skills. So whether you're at home or in school, embedding grammar in daily routines, providing explicit instruction, and using fun and meaningful activities is going to ensure that kids are internalizing this grammar naturally. By making grammar engaging and finding ways to apply this grammar is going to empower kids to read with fluency, write with clarity, and also to communicate with confidence. I hope this was helpful. I'm Faith in Literacy.